Today we've got two important games with regards to finishing in them playoff positions. We're going to be seeing us play Forest Green at home, and the second game of the episode will be watching us play Sutton United away. I know we've already seen the Sutton United, but it is important with regards to that 7 playoff positions. So as you can see from last time out, from where we lost 4-1 in extra time, and absolutely ridiculously that it went to extra time because of Mr. Jacob Pingington, we then went on and went through in the next round of the FA Trophy. We drew 1-1 at home to Boreham Wood, lost 1-0 to Rochdale. Very disappointing considering we beat them 3-0 in the reverse leg, and then beat Aldershot Town 4-0, and then in the end went out to Dorking in the FA Trophy 5th round. But as I said, I'll bring us back for the Forest Green game, and then we'll be watching the Sutton United game. Reason why, as I said in the intro, Sutton United are sitting second and Forest Green are just outside of the playoffs. So if Forest Green managed to beat us today, it does mean they go just 1 point behind us. Alternatively, if we can win, of course, it then puts us back up to sitting in 4th. And then that game against Sutton United is also more important, depending on, of course, how the results go in the 2 games between. But in terms of our match day squad today, pretty much unchanged now. Mellor's going to drop out onto the right wing. McEachran's going to come back in as the cam. Boswell on the left and G up front. Holding midfield of Ashby and Campbell. Killer Ferreri is coming back in. He's now actually gone up to a 3-star current ability, and he's now wanted by even more clubs. So Lincoln and also Swansea have come in with their interest. We did have to battle quite a lot of interest from Dundee United, but the maximum that they offered us within the January transfer window, as you can see we're now in February, was 31,000. You think I'm going to take 31,000 for a player who, at the highest, yes, he's worth 35k, but that's only because he's on a youth contract. 3-star ability, 5-star potential. If he carries on improving the way he is, I reckon he's going to be a Championship or even Premier League potential standard if he carries on the way he is. But like I said, Killer Ferreri, Johnson, Skara, Pinnington and Wright in the defensive unit. I'm just going to say to the boys, we have to win our home games. Let's make no excuses. I'm not going to say about, it could make us drop out of the playoffs, because like I said before, that's never really been a starting objective of ours, and I feel like that's just going to confuse the players if we now start going on about the playoffs. Again, if we do just drop out of the playoffs, it's still a very good season in my eyes. Early corner here for Forest Green Rovers, though. Oh, I don't know where Wright went. Ashby tried to keep it off the line, or clear it off the line, but that's nothing. Let's see where Wright actually goes. Wright was anticipating grabbing that and coming off of his line, but you're better off just staying on your line because you're really not sure what's going to be going on. I'll tell you what as well, in the pre-match press conferences, there were some pretty fierce words from Robbie Savage. He's definitely not a fan of ours, and that's because we are at the same level of our career in a managerial role in far less time than what he is at the moment. So, I mean, we'll take it. McEachran wins the ball into Johnson, into Skara. Ball. Mellor. We want Mellor to really start performing a little bit better because his performances recently, and G tucks in. Probably assist from McEachran. They almost called him McEphraim again. But yeah, Mellor has not been very impressive the last few games. He's really gone off the boil, but this was a lovely ball by Pinnington into McEachran, and then McEachran just does nicely to square that, so G gets an absolute gift on a plate presented to him. So back to 1-1. We'll take that after going 1-0 down in 1 minute. Obviously the players didn't turn up, they didn't wake up in time. As you can see, Forest Green Rovers pretty attacking formation, 4 across the top with a leading striker as well. Very narrow at the back. Maybe we might actually go much wider, try and take advantage of that. I think what I might do is encourage even more overlapping runs potentially as well. Because if they're going to throw so many bodies forward, there's going to be a big old gap there out wide that we can exploit. And we know how good our wingers are. So it's worth us obviously trying to take full advantage of that. Boswell here, ball in, G's there. Oh, just can't get his header on target, unfortunately. Let's go and change that to both flanks on the supporting row. And I think other than that, actually, I'm going to go for a short goal kick as well. Short goal kick, we beat this press, bang. We've got plenty of space to then work in, because even out of possession isn't as attacking, but still, these guys are going to be sort of more trying to get further forward every time they overturn. Bang, we hit them on the counter-attack. this is what we're working with, all this space here. He says, and that's what the plan hopefully will be. Who knows whether that will actually pay off. But at the minute, it's stalemate, 42 minutes played, still 1-1. Again, like I said, Forest Green Rovers are just outside the playoff spots. So as long as we don't lose, they won't make much ground on us. It still keeps it as a 4-point gap. Let's address the team. I'm going to say we have been the better team. I don't think we've not, apart from that first minute where we conceded, we've not seen anything for them. So we've definitely been, there we go, send it off ref, surely. Or the weakest red card you would have ever seen. 50 minutes played. We're not going to make any changes yet, but I'm looking at Melo. He's just 6.9. He's not performing badly. I think the problem is he prefers to play as a cam, as a shadow striker, and that's just not how we play. I'd rather him play in the advanced playmaker role because he keeps it fluid within that position, whoever plays there, and the striker always knows who they're going to feed off of. And McEachran does that role so well that it's just not going to be sort of Mellor's out-and-out position. We did try him for a few games in a row and sort of gave McEachran a good rest, but even when we were coming up lesser opposition, they just weren't. He just wasn't doing what we wanted him to do. Not the way that McEachran does it anyway. I was going to say, surely G was offside there, and he was. We're going to take Mellor off. We haven't got Clark on the bench. That was an oversight by me, because that means we're going to have to put Beanie on, and he's unnatural side, and the fact that he wants to leave, but that's fine. Pinnington, he's knackered, but that means Alan Appleby has to come on, and as we know, he's not the greatest, and I feel like with that too many attacking players, that's going to override Alan Appleby quite quickly, so we're not going to risk doing that. We'll just have to let Pinnington play through and hope that he's got enough in the tank to keep up with the pace of the game and not pick up an injury. Scar into Campbell. Beanie. What's Beanie going to do with it? Prove why... Well, I mean, he's asked to leave anyway. McEachran... Yeah, I was going to say, he's handed in transfer request anyway, so either way, he wants to leave, so he probably won't renew his contract at the end of the season, and if I'm honest, I probably wouldn't have renewed it anyway. He was the one who wanted more money than Clark, and Clark's done a hell of a lot more, so the likelihood is Beanie will be leaving at the end of the season. To be honest, I think a couple of these players will probably be leaving at the end of the season, and then hopefully we'll be able to sprinkle that extra little bit of gold dust onto the squad like we have in the last window. Or last summer, sorry, and then really push it on even further. If we get promoted to Sky Bet League 2, then maybe even more players will not be renewed in terms of contracts. But if we stay in the National League, then most certainly a few of these players that we've seen week in, week out will be staying in the squad to keep its solidity, keep its obviously attack and prowess, and then we'll add one or two extras. I would like to sort of bring in a permanent striker rather than, again, relying on loans, because of course G is on loan from Wolves, don't forget. Maybe try and pick him up on a full deal. Who knows? Might be worth us potentially looking at going professional as well at some point, because remember, we are semi-professional outfits, so we're not training week in, week out. G must be offside, surely, unless he's beat the offside trap, I was going to say. Surely he's off. Miles off. But there we go, 1-1 to Forest Green Rovers. Not a terrible result. I'm going to say it's disappointing that we didn't win, considering we were on top. Give them that little bit of extra momentum going into the next game. See, look, 5 players are in need of the rest. Darnell Johnson, Ashby, McEachran, Pinnington. Well, actually, it's even more than 5. Look at it. All of them are very high in terms of their injuries until we get down to Clark. And Clark didn't even play that last game, and he's still got match fatigue, and nor did Manny Aliki. We're going to have to consider rotating more when we play against teams much lower in the league, which we may do against Chelmsford, because Chelmsford are currently sitting 20th. But what the plan will be, as I said, I'm going to skip forward and bring you back to the Sutton United game. Hopefully, we can pick up the couple of points needed in the next couple of games to keep cementing our place in them playoffs. We have now dropped down to 7th. We have got a 3-point gap between us and Scunthorpe, but that can soon be eaten away. We do have a game in hand over all of these clubs as well. So we win our game in hand, we'll go back up to 4th because of our goal difference. So the 2 games off camera went exactly the way you'd think they would have gone, right? So Chelmsford and Gateshead both near the bottom of the table. We managed to beat Chelmsford 3-0. The Gateshead result looks good on paper, 3-1. Let's not kid ourselves. We scored in the 92nd and the 94th minute to make it look a lot more convincing than what it was. It was toe-to-toe up until extra time. Bring you back with the Sutton United game. One thing I wanted to show you before we go into the game, though, however, is look at our goal difference. 31 is our goal difference. We've only conceded 25 goals all season, but we've scored 56. So we are in and amongst in terms of the top goal scorers in the league. That result does move us up to third. That game against Gateshead, that was our game in hand. So we are now sitting at 32 played, 16 wins, 10 draws, 6 losses, and obviously on 58 points. I think probably the title's out of the question. We're 10 points off, but definitely the playoffs is definitely something that's on the cards. We now have a 7-point gap between us and Forest Green Rovers. In terms of the starting lineup, I made some rotations in that last game, so they are obviously definitely going to be dropping away. We want our strongest 11 to be playing in today's game. Of course, we're playing an opposition that is a lot higher up in terms of the form and in terms of the league table, so we want our best 11 to be out there on the pitch this afternoon. McEachran did pick up a small knock in the last game, but he was only out for a day, so I think even though his sharpness is down, we're still going to play him. And I think other than that, that is going to be the starting 11 for our game today. So just to go through the team, we've got Jay Wright in goal, a defence of Pinnington, Skara, Johnson and Killer Ferrari, Campbell and Ashby in the holding midfield roles, attack of Clark, McEachran and Boswell. Leading the line is G. G's now up to 13 goals this season, so he's been tucking them in nicely. And of course, McEachran, 13 goals and 10 assists. The importance of him in this team cannot be underestimated. I'm just going to say, don't let our good run of form come to an end. I think that's fair. Not putting any additional pressure on them, just telling them to go out there, do a good job, try and obviously keep the run of form underway. I've said don't let the good run come to an end. So maybe I have put a bit of extra pressure on them, but they need to know, we are a solid unit. We deserve to be where we are in the league. We've been playing extremely well. We are defensively sound, and the good thing is we are scoring a lot of goals. So we're not really sort of lacking quality in any area. I think, again, even if we don't go up this season, a couple of extra sprinkles on this team, and I know I say that too often, the sprinkles of gold dust, but a couple of extra of those, and I think we can go up as potentially champions next season if we don't go up this season. But of course, there's a lot of football left to play, and there's a big summer obviously ahead of us in terms of that rebuild. What we don't want to do is go backwards, but of course that does add a lot of pressure on. If we do finish second or third this season, that's a lot of pressure for next season to really go that one step further and win as champions. But I have faith in the team, and I have faith in the players that we've got here. It will just be keeping a hold of G, ideally, and then maybe adding another winger or two to the mix. Boswell, he had so much promise, hasn't really delivered what we was going to hope that he was going to deliver. Clark's, to be fair, always turning up, but again, I feel like there's probably a couple of bigger fish out there that we could probably pick up on a good deal to bring us over the line in terms of the wing positions. And there you go. See what I say about Boswell? Wasn't even really under much pressure and gives the ball away. Sutton United here have got a highlight, and of course it gets crossed back in, squared, and they go 1-0 up. Never good to see. I'm not sure why we're not playing in our lime kit, because we're away from home and their home kit is yellow, so it's not really a kit clash, yellow and lime, but hey, we'll take it. That's what we're going to put on while we're 1-0 down, and brush over the error that Boswell made in potentially leading to that goal. But 40 minutes played, 1-0 down. I'm just going to let it play out for now. Again, it's quite a... Look at that. An out of position flat back 7. I just don't understand. We're meant to be the underdogs. And yet, yeah, it's just frustrating when teams do that. I'm going to take Pinnington off because he... Oh, God, Clark is very... We're going to take Clark off. I might actually put McEachran out on the wing and see how he performs. I'm going to play him as an inside winger. Boswell will keep on for now. Pinnington is absolutely shattered. He constantly is shattered. But I don't really want to bring on George Burrows. A, because he wants to leave the club, and B, he's just not that good compared to Pinnington. We're going to go out. One change made. Clark has obviously been playing pretty much week in, week out, so from time to time, he is going to need a rest. We're going to encourage them, and hopefully we can get back into the game. I mean, a loss to Sutton, it's not a good result by all means. If we don't lose by much and it doesn't have a knock-on effect to the confidence, it isn't too bad. It does mean we go 2 points behind them, so potentially meaning that top half of the promotion mini table, if you like, mini league, may start to slip away, and then we just have to focus on here on Scunthorpe, who are currently 6 points behind us. But of course, there's still half an hour left of the game. Anything can happen. I think, to be fair, if we get to about the 75th minute, I might just change it to positive. As long as we don't then go and capitulate and lose about 5-0, then I'll be fine. 70 minutes played on the clock, still 1-0 down. We're not really seeing any highlights. We're not seeing anything. We want to see something different. Bring on Westendorf. Play him as an inside forward. More of a natural position for him. Let's bring on Manialiki. Let's now take off Pinnington. I don't think we're going to be able to do much more than that. We're throwing everything we have at it. We're going to go positive now. 10 minutes left to play. Can we at least get an equaliser back? A draw away from home against Sutton would be a fairly okay result. Well, we don't want to go 2-0 down. I've said that now. Look, Burrows, I mean, fair play to him. He ran back and managed to pick up the ball, but he's not even marking or tracking his man properly. It was just more by luck than judgment there. Westendorf goes past his man nicely, gets taken out. No final product there from the boy. Can't get the ball across. And then we go 2-0 down. So that's how the game goes, isn't it, sometimes? I mean, Skara and Johnson not painting themselves in fine form there, considering how good they have been. Skara missing the header and Johnson not managing to keep right side of the attacker. It's the way the game goes. We're not going to win them all. And unfortunately, the game obviously just doesn't want us to win this one. That's what I'm blaming it on. Not the fact for the silly individual mistakes and the awful ratings of arguably two of our better attackers. Boswell on a 6.1 and G on a 6. We were praising him before the game as well. Oh, and we've just gone and conceded a third. How have we done that? It's Boswell again. Just get rid of the danger. Put it out for a corner. Don't let them come back at us. Goes on Killer Ferreri's rating for that, because it can... Oh, I don't know how that happens, but Killer Ferreri and G both have a rating of 6. Not good at all. We're going to say we weren't good enough. And I'm going to tell both of them individually that I'm quite angry of how you've played. And hopefully that'll be a little livener to them two moving forward into the next games. As we can see, we've still got players that are desperately in need of a rest, and we're trying to rotate as much as we can, but the games are coming so thick and fast, it's hard to get enough rotation into the squad. But what that does is it puts us 5th. 33 games played, 58 points. I think we're safe to say we're not going to get relegated now. There's enough games still. I mean, there's still enough points potentially for us to get pulled into maybe a relegation scrap. I very much doubt that we're going to go on and lose the rest of the games. What the plan will now be is I'll probably play the Scunthorpe, Attrington, Eastleigh, Barnet and Woking game off camera, depending on how it's going. If it looks like it's just going to be quite a comfortable playoffs, I might bring you back a little bit further towards the end. But I'll see how things are going before we go. I'm just conscious I don't want to just sort of overload it with just general league games when there's not much riding on it. And by the looks of it, we're not really playing any of the top seeded teams in the last half of the season, which hopefully should bode well for us, right? But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you can hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already, leave a comment down below. Where do you reckon we're going to finish? Are playoffs on the cards? Who knows? It's very tight, but we do have a squad with the determination that we know we can do it. If you haven't already, subscribed if you're new around here to continue following the journey, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.